Like the wind through my tree, she rides the night next to me. She leads me through moonlight, only to burn me with the sun. She's taking my heart, but she doesn't know what she's done. Feel her breath in my face, her body close to me. Can't look in her eyes, she's out of my league. Just a fool to believe I have anything she needs. She's like the wind. I look in the mirror and all I see is a young old man with only a dream. Am I just fooling myself that she'll stop the pain? Living without her, I go insane. Breath in my face.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, knows lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose.
What can you say to someone who has always been one of the most essential parts of your world? Someone who took you by the hand when you were little and helped to show you the way. What do you say to someone who stood by to help you to grow, providing love and strength and support so you could be the person that you are today? What can you say to let her know that she is the best that there is, and that you hope you've inherited some of her wisdom and her strength? What words would you say if you ever got the chance? Maybe you would just say, "I love you, Glenys," and hope she understands. Good afternoon to each of you who have gathered here today. My name is Simon, and along with all of the staff here at Parkside, we have been privileged to have been invited to care for Glenys after her death and to be a part of this service. And so I thank you, Robert, Alison, Tony, Rebecca, Ben, your families, for inviting us to be here. Could I please ask that anyone who has their mobile phone on them today, that it be switched off or onto silent as your mark of respect for Glenys. There are undoubtedly some people who can't be with us today for varying reasons, thinking especially of Glenys' sister-in-law Carol, who can't be here. And so I'd like to mention that we're thinking of them, as I'm sure that they're taking a few quiet moments out of their afternoon to think of all of us, and perhaps they are remembering Glenys in their own ways. For those people watching this service via live stream or at a later time, I welcome you as well, because your presence is equally valued, whether you're here in person or here in spirit. After this service, you're warmly invited to stay here in the rear of the chapel for a time of refreshments, a time of support, and a time of sharing your own memories of Glenys with her family and with each other. Glenys achieved in life, I think, what she wanted. A life filled with love, a life filled with family and happiness. This isn't to say that her life was without its challenges, because she certainly faced those, but they were minor in comparison to the joy that she experienced and the love that she gave. Glenys was the dearly loved wife of the late Peter, better known to everyone as Zulu, a loving mother of Robert, Alison, Tony, Rebecca and Ben, a dearly loved nan of all her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, a loving mother-in-law, a daughter, sister, sister-in-law, auntie and a friend. There is a part of a funeral service where we tell the story of the person who has passed away, and the family have been busily working away this last week, putting some stories and memories together, and they've asked me to share those with you. And to begin this time, I would like to start with a poem written by granddaughter Dana. She's written "Built from Fire and Grace." She wasn't soft, but she was warm, built from thunder, shaped by storm. Hands like stone, a heart of gold, a story fierce and gently told. She bore the weight, she stood up tall. She took life's hardest hits and didn't fall. But oh, the way her love could feel, solid, steady, sharp and real. She gave with grit, she stayed so true, a fortress made of all she knew. Now gone from sight, but not from soul, she stitched her love into us all. And so it was in Warragul, Victoria, on the 13th of October 1948 that Charles and Valda Brooks welcomed another baby girl into their family, Glenys Margaret. A sister for Patricia, who the family affectionately called Tricia. And she was soon followed by John, Shirley, Philip, Peter, Neville, Rodney, Lauren, better known as Joey, and Judy. The family moved to Tasmania in the first few years of Glenys's life, and they settled in Smithton. Glenys attended school at Redpa and at Smithton, and she would always say that she had to walk 2 kilometres to school and back, rain, hail or shine. Apparently one time on the way to school, Glenys fell off a horse and broke her hand. So she strapped a brick to her wrist to splint it and continued on her way until she could get proper medical attention. After leaving school, Glenys married Harold Murphy in October of 1965, and they soon set about starting their family, welcoming Robert in 1966, Alison in 1967, and Tony in 1971. After Robert's birth, Harold and Glenys took him home from hospital to a single men's quarters shack in the woods where Harold was working. Well, Glenys wasn't having any of that, and after a couple of months of roughing it, they moved into the family home in Emmett Street in Smithton. Robert told me that he can't remember how many wooden spoons Glenys broke across his backside in his childhood, but he can remember the welts from the hearthbrush. As sometimes happened, Harold and Glenys parted ways in 1980. Glenys worked for a time at the Bridge Hotel in Smithton, waitressing tables and behind the bar. Perhaps this is where she met Zulu. Glenys met Peter Zeuschner, Zulu, and they were married on the 6th of September 1980 in the band hall at Smithton. Rebecca was welcomed to the family in 1981, followed by Ben, completing the family in 1982. Glenys and Zulu and the family moved to Savage River, where Zulu had work in the mines. In about 1989, they moved back to Somerset, into the house that they had purchased with the sale of Zulu's beloved Triumph motorbike. Glenys loved hockey, and she was an accomplished player. She later coached the Lylear team and the school teams when the kids were growing up. Alison told me she remembered one time, and I'm sure there were probably more than one, where she was whopped with a hockey stick one day that she put a foot out of line. Glenys loved the football. She followed North Melbourne in the AFL, but it was the local football that she loved best. She was always there to watch her grandson Zane play. She would park up the car and keep an eye out for Alison in her unmistakable pink hat that she always wore. And once she'd spotted Alison, Alison's phone would ring and Glenys would be on the other end, putting in her order for a salve and soup to be delivered to the front seat of the car. Glenys had the uncanny ability to be able to pick the best on-ground player and other awards during a game of football. One time, the sports writer for The Advocate was sitting behind her in the grandstand listening to her picks, and the next day, all of her picks were there in the Advocate write-up. The family loved camping, but Glenys hated leeches. She would set herself up on a chair surrounded by a wide ring of salt, all the way around her to keep the leeches at bay. She loved any excuse for a party, and obviously a cheeky couple of drinks. Glenys followed the antics of the royal family. I think she may have seen herself as the matriarch of her family, maybe likening herself to the Queen. Glenys loved to go out for a meal with her family, but would often remark that her meal was crap. I didn't like that. Except recently, she did enjoy her meal at the beach hotel. I think that was the first time she ever did. She always loved a good feed of curried scallops. Glenys worked with some of the disadvantaged kids at the Yolla school, teaching them reading, writing, and giving them support with their classes. Glenys loved Rod Stewart and Bruce Springsteen, and who could count how many times she's watched her favourite movies, Dirty Dancing and Ghost. Glenys loved to dance, and her and Zulu were known to tear up a dance floor any chance that they got. Glenys loved to chat. If you went down the street with Glenys, it would seem like she knew everyone. You would have to allow at least 20 minutes for her to have a chat. Losing her beloved Zulu on March 11, 2018, life was never the same for Glenys after he died. And once Glenys received her own cancer diagnosis, all she wanted to do was make it to her grandson's wedding, which she achieved. Glenys's health has been in decline for the last few months, and after a short stay in hospital, she died peacefully. Glenys left our world on Tuesday, the 15th of July, 2025, at the Northwest Regional Hospital in Burnie. She was surrounded in her death, as in her life, by her 5 beloved children, her 13 adored grandchildren, and her 5 great-grandchildren. Glenys's family have prepared a montage of photos for her life, and so I invite you to watch the following photos, perhaps taking some time to quietly remember what Glenys has meant to you.
Seems like yesterday, but it was long ago. Jane, it was lovely, she was the queen of my night. There in the darkness with the radio playing low, and the secrets that we shared, the mountains that we moved, caught like a wildfire out of control, till there was nothing left to burn and nothing left to prove. And I remember what she said to me, how she swore that it never would end. I remember how she held me, oh so tight. Wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then. Against the wind, we were running against the wind. We were young and strong, we were running against the wind. And the years rolled slowly past, and I found myself alone, surrounded by strangers I thought were my friends. Found myself further and further from my home, and I guess I lost my way. There were oh so many roads. I was living to run and running to live, never worried about paying or even how much I owed. Moving 8 miles a minute for months at a time, breaking all of the rules that would bend. I began to find myself searching for shelter again and again. Against the wind, something against the wind. I found myself seeking shelter against the wind.
Sympathy, just open your heart to me. You'll get whatever you'll ever need. You think that's too high for you, baby? I would die for you. When there's nothing left, you know where I'll be. Lay back in the arms of someone, give him to the charms of someone. Lay back in the arms of someone you love. Lay back in the arms of someone, when you feel you're a part of someone. You lay back in the arms of someone you love. Just call me when you want all of me. And I'll be your lover, I'll be your friend. And there's nothing I won't do, 'cause baby, I just live for you. With nothing to hide, no need to pretend. Lay back in the arms of someone, you give in to the charms of someone. You lay back in the arms of someone you love. Darling, lay back in the arms of someone, when you feel you're a part of someone. You lay back in the arms of someone you love. When there's nothing left, I'll be with you. Lay back in the arms of someone, give in to the charms of someone. Lay back in the arms of someone you love.
I'm sure Glenys is laying back in the arms of Zulu, someone that she loved. I think it's important to remember that Glenys is still with you. There won't be any new memories to make with her, but there are lots and lots of old ones to remember and to smile about again and again. It's important to talk about her. It's important to remember her and all the special times that you shared with her. With this in mind, the family again would love for you to join them this afternoon here in the chapel for refreshments and a time for you to share your own stories. And so we come, I guess, to the final parts of our service, and a light has gone out without so much as a flicker, and all we have left now is the precious memory of how brightly it burnt and the warmth that it gave us. How glad we are, Glenys, that we were part of your life, but how your leaving us brings such sadness. But we know that we can do no more for you in this life, and our last act of care is to lay your body to rest. We have met to honour and to celebrate your life, a life lived with colour, with hard work, determination, resolve. We are glad to be numbered amongst those who loved and respected Glenys and who called her friend. But Glenys, we acknowledge that we must let you go. But before we do this, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all that you brought to our lives, for all that we learned from you and shared with you. We are glad that our lives have touched, that we knew you, that we loved you, and that you loved us in return. Glenys, we will never forget you. Glenys's children have asked me to take a few moments to say a special thank you to Glenys's sister-in-law, Carol. Carol was Glenys's constant travel companion on their many trips to Melbourne and to Hobart to see specialists and seek treatment. Her kindness and support for Glenys during these difficult trips will never be forgotten by her family. We will always be grateful to you, Carol, for being Mum's friend through it all. Please accept our heartfelt thanks and gratitude for everything that you did for Mum. As a last act of giving to Glenys, who has given us all so much, I would like to invite her family to come forward and to place a flower or some petals upon her coffin. And as Glenys's family do this, please reflect on what it was that Glenys has given to you.
Friday night and the lights are low, looking out for a place to go, where they play the right music, getting in the swing. You come to look for a king. Anybody could be that guy. Night is young and the music's high, with a bit of rock music. Everything's fine. You're in the mood for a dance. And when you get the chance, you are the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17. Dancing queen, feel the beat from the tambourine. You can dance, you can jive, having the time of your life. See that girl, watch that scene, digging the dancing queen.
Glenys, we say goodbye to your physical presence amongst us, and we commit you. We commit you to our hearts, to our minds and to our memories. We commit to the telling of your stories so that others will know you. We commit to loving you from now until eternity, and we commit to supporting each other through our loss of you. And gently and tenderly, we commit you for cremation, eventually returning earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. May you rest, Glenys, for eternity, knowing only peace and the love of your family and friends. And to close, some words I think might come to us from Glenys that says, when I come to the end of my journey and I've travelled my last weary mile, just forget if you can that I ever frowned and remember only my smile. Forget unkind words I have spoken. Remember the good that I've done. Forget that I ever had heartache, and remember I had loads of fun. Forget that I stumbled and blundered, and I sometimes fell by the way. Remember I fought some hard battles, and I won at the close of the day. And then forget to grieve for my going. I would not have you sad for a day, but in summer just gather some flowers and remember the place where I lay. And come in the shade of the evening, when the sun paints the sky in the west, stand a few moments beside me, remember only my best. Ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare to leave the chapel, would you please stand?
I am sailing home again, across the sea. I am sailing, star